Hey guys, Waifugate here, bringing you another video. Today we're going to be going over a Sultai control list. This list is bound to change here and there, but for right now this is what I'm comfortable with, and this is for best of 3, not best of 1 for a change of pace actually. So we'll just get right into it. So in regards to what the deck wants to do, it's going to grind out card advantage and answer the board state, and it also has some counter spells to lace in there to deal with planeswalkers, so you don't always have to rely on Vraska's Contempt to sort of answer that. Compared to other control lists, because that's probably what people are going to do instantly, they're going to ask, how is this better than Esper control? It's not necessarily better, it's different. I got kind of tired of playing Esper. I wanted something different that can kind of answer stuff like Legion's Landing that's a little sticky. Esper has a tough time dealing with that once it's flipped. If you run a Mastermind variation, you can Ethereal to deal with it. This right here, you can do this, Masterminds, bam, solves Legion's Landing unless they have like a Benelish, which you can answer, you know, that's going into details. But Assassin's Trophy is 2 mana. It doesn't take 4 plus 6, 10 total to Mastermind and grab this in the same turn. You can always set that up later, but it's also weak to Conclave. The Absolution is there. So there's just a lot to consider when you look at Esper and how it can answer Legion's Landing. You can mortify it, but not after it flips. So the lack of a good sweeper is something that this deck struggles with. We rely on Ritual of Soot game 1 to answer the board state. This is useful against Gruul mostly, and it's good against Sultai as well. It answers Crassus and such. Jade Lights, the Explore package, all of that, it's really good for that. That's pretty much what it does. There's a little anti-synergy with our Soot and our Crassus, but that's not too bad. So you control the board state, you counter spell, you do what you can to set up Wilderness into search. This is how you grind out your value. You get to double search each turn, potentially triple search if you have multiple copies of Wilderness. You do have to set up an end stop to do that. So before you play your Wilderness, always set an end stop. That's the first thing, like on your thing over here or on your thing over here. Okay. And that's just nice. It's good. So you're gonna have to deal with that. Like that's just something you have to do. Set up the step before you play Wilderness, and then you grind out value through a huge Crassus while still holding up a counter spell. Like you can tap out for Crassus, draw like 3 or 4 cards, still hold up Sinister Stab, still hold up a Vraska's Contempt for something they might play, or they might swing in with something. Cast downs. You have a lot of options here. You can also lace in an Azcanta end of turn. You can use your Wilderness to ooze. This is sort of the bread and butter of this. Now this list is based off of another list. It's based off of Shaheen's I think that's how you pronounce his name. Yeah, Shaheen Surani. So it's based off of their list quite heavily. Lots of inspiration here. I cut the Hostage Taker and I added in another Assassin's Trophy. I cut the Cast Down. It's basically based off of this. I changed it for the current meta. More Vraska's Contempt since Phoenixes are more popular. Stuff like this. And my land base is a little different. He values the woodland over having... I like more basics. So that's pretty much the difference. And I have one more sweeper because I think aggro is a little more rough, and my sideboard's slightly different. I run like 2 negates, but yeah, that's where it's based off of, just to give credit where credit is due, of course. Just putting that out there. I'll also include that link in the description below, as well as a link to Aether Hub and such, so all of that will be covered. You don't have to worry about scrambling for links. It'll all be in the show more. Just click show more down there. So yeah. So ooze, Wilderness, all of that to grind value. Cast down's just really good removal right now. Search is great. Thought Erasure is super good. This will be useful against like Sultai, where you can grab Carnage Tyrant, at least delay it. They'd have to find, gives you some more time to set up for oozes that can go wide. Like you can block with 2 oozes, for example, against a Carnage Tyrant. Instantly just kills the Carnage Tyrant. They can cast down, they have interaction, but if you grind them out enough to where you know what's in their hand with thought erasures and everything, you can pretty much get there. Like I believe in the deck, I think it'll be fine. So that's basically the goal, is just to control, gain card advantage, use chemisters with Wilderness. Your engines are chemisters and Hydroid primarily, and Search. So we've covered the engines. In regards to good and bad matchups, first game against mono white might be a little rough with the lack of Cry of Carnarium. But like cast downs are really good against the Loxodons. You can usually cast down the Lox or Sinister Sabbat and then just soot the rest of the board is the normal plan. You want to soot as soon as you can sometimes. It's really, really hard to play against that deck sometimes, but you'll get a feel for it. Just watch out for Unbreakable Formation game 1. Use your Thought Eraser to check for that if you have time. If you're not just going to die to Unbreakable Formation pumping, you know, on their following turn. Stuff like that. Esper is also really hard because they have creature removal game 1, and game 2 they might still have it, so that's going to be tough. And thanks for the follow, man. And yeah, so it's just going to be a little rough against mono white game 1. I go over all, I'm not going to go too far into details with sideboard options because I have sideboard options all written out here in the Aether Hub guide. And that'll be in the descriptions below as well. You can find a link to this deck super easy. And it's all organized and stuff. So you just go to like, you know, mono white. And this is like a rough sideboard change. It's not going to be locked into, this is what you have to do. This is just so you don't blank out on your sideboard screen like I do a lot. So this is just a guideline. Feel free to adjust this. This is just what I would do personally on my first game. If there weren't like cards, like let's say they show me a card that I don't usually see in mono white, you know, then I adjust for it. It's fine. It's good. So I'm not going to go too much into detail. I'm just trying to cover like, you know, what your good and bad matchups might be. So mono white, probably like a 50-50 game 1. After you sideboard, you probably just smoke it. Like if you have the good cards and they have couple bad cards, you're probably going to win because you're just teched for it, and they don't have a lot of tech against this deck because it's unorthodox. It's going to take people by surprise. That's what this deck is going to try to do for the most part. That's its advantage over Esper Control. Speaking of Esper Control, it's going to be kind of a rough game 1. You got Thought Erasures, you've got Assassin's Trophies for Search for Azcanta if you need it. If it's flipped, don't blow up Search instantly to ramp them because then they can get a Teferi out. Try to hold on to it. You can actually blow it up after you Thought Erasure them, check to see if they have responses. Take your time in this matchup. You know, that's the most important part. You don't have Mortify. You're going to be weak to their Azcanta. They're going to have Mortify for yours, so don't just jam in your Azcanta. Like, kind of think about it first. But we only have 6 dead cards against Control. That's it. Everything else is hot fire. We can use it. These are win cons. They're not dead. Like, yeah, they might have a cast down for your Ooze. They might have a cast down for your Hydroid. They might have Kaya's Wrath. It's going to be tough, but if you keep checking their hands, and they might not even value their board wipes, they might actually chuck Kaya's Wrath into the graveyard because they think they need lands more than they do a sweeper. So that might be good, you know. And then sideboard, you've got options, you know. Like I said, sideboard, gonna go over this more in another video. And also just keeping this updated. I'll keep this updated. But you've got like Thieves of Sanities, Duress, Negates, like all this nice stuff to bring in. And you just remove 2 cast downs. You keep 1 in for that Thief of Sanity that might get past your Crushing Canopy. You don't need Soot. No, you don't want to tap 4 mana to answer Thief. You want to tap 2. -2 Hydroids, -2 Oozes. We're really banking on our Thieves taking us home. But that's sort of nice. And then you have your own Crushing Canopies, of course, and Duresses and Thought Erasures to check for their Thieves. Because it's basically just a battle of the Thieves with Esper. It always is. So depends on if it's Acuity or not, which I should make adjustments here for. But, you know. And And like, you know, just to go over a few of the other ones, like mono red's not too popular. You've got some options there. It's just a really flexible deck with these colors. You have a lot of good answers. Like Crushing Canopy is an awesome card right now. Does well against Tamir Reclamation because of Niv Mizzets and such. Blows up their Wilderness, blows up Niv. It's just good. And I feel like it just, I don't know, it's just a little different from Esper, and I like the options that we have with this. It's just very grindy. In a best of 3 format, I think this deck shines because you don't need Absorb to get there, right? You kind of have Hydroids to gain life, and then you've got like Oozes to sort of take control. Like the Ooze creates so much pressure. It's so cool. Because you play it after your opponent's thrown lightning strikes at your face. You've recovered a little HP with Hydroid. Maybe they have the collision to answer it, right? Because your Hydroid's probably not getting bigger than 6. And then all of a sudden this Ooze comes on the table. You've got Wilderness Reclamation, and it instantly pops out another Ooze. Maybe 2, if you're feeling frisky, maybe 2. And then you've just got Oozes everywhere, and it just skyrockets, and you close the game out so fast. And then your opponent doesn't know if you're going to keep those Oozes in, if you're going to sideboard them for something else that's spicy. Who knows what's going to happen with this deck. So, and then we've got like, you know, we've got an okay chance against Nexus of Fate and other control lists. Like we've got sideboard plans for that too. So if you're interested in the sideboard, just follow the links below. If you have any more questions, you can always feel free to tune into my stream. I stream just about every day. And yeah, I appreciate you guys checking out the video. I hope this was helpful. I hope that some of you might check out this deck, have some fun with it. Don't blow your wild cards on this deck if you have limited resources. It's very niche. It's different. It might not be the best deck, but for right now, I'm going to try to lock into this and grind to Mythic with this best of 3 style and see where it takes me. I'm going to try to shoot for that invitational, you know, so I will catch you guys on the next video or on my stream. And yeah, thanks for chilling out for a minute.